first person we have up, this is wonderful concept, Jackson Van Cott and the Unchained Sandwich Company.
Good morning, everybody. As I said, my name is Jackson Van Cott. Hope you're all having a good morning so far. I'm here to talk to you about my company, the Unchained Sandwich Company. It's a brand we're hoping to actually get off the ground in 2 years or less with my business partner. Unchained Sandwich Company is a new, locally owned sandwich company hoping to break into the Asheville market food scene with a bit of a gourmet twist on a sub shop, working out of a food truck, keep things mobile. We're gonna set ourselves apart from the current competition, utilizing a variety of fresh ingredients, high quality products, local goods. We're gonna make all of our breads in-house fresh. We're gonna do a variety of house-made products such as pickles, sauces, hot sauces, things like that, all coming from in-house. We are completely owner-operated, so it's just myself and my partner for the first year or so until things pick up. That's going to contribute to our high level of customer service and commitment to helping the business grow. As I stated before, we plan to compete with the existing market through high-quality products and a higher expectation of customer service, despite a higher price point than some of our current competition. We're going to have a home base at 200 New Leicester Highway. This is currently a barber shop, but the owner is a good friend of both partners. So that personal connection is going to keep our costs low. He already has hookups for food and water, or water and electricity. It's just a few miles from our commissary kitchen where we'll be receiving all of our orders, as well as renting time for preparation of our breads and pickles, and storage and deliveries will be happening there. It's a high traffic area. New Leicester Highway has about 30,000 cars a day in peak season, according to the Blue Ridge Times, as well as it's in close proximity to a wide variety of small local businesses and a school, so that additional foot and vehicle traffic will assist in our business. This location, we believe, is a strong home base for our truck, but it still allows us the freedom to move about town and reach our target markets at festivals and events anywhere that we're able to get more customers. It's a fairly central location, makes it easy for us to travel to catering events, sporting events, other things like that, just to increase our market reach. We can have deliveries made to our home base location, but for the most part, those will be made to our commissary kitchen, and our truck will be able to drive there to pick up goods, or we also have a chase vehicle that's available for resupplying during days or festival events. As far as target markets go, we plan on a majority of our business coming from corporate and small catering events, with that taking up about 40% of our sales revenue through the year. In addition to that, we plan for mobile and online ordering to be a key driver for our business, with about 30% of our revenue coming from online orders and pickup. We're lowering our reliance on walk-up business because despite there being a high volume of vehicle traffic, it's not a particularly pedestrian-friendly area, so we're hoping that the online order kind of trumps over the window business, so that's only 15% of our total revenue, with the final 15% coming from the festivals and events that we take the truck to increase our reach. As stated, we are a chef-inspired sandwich truck, so we're a little bit different than your average Subway or something. We have constantly rotating specials, and our chefs actually curate the flavors for each sandwich because we have a small menu. We're trying to make every experience as enjoyable as possible. We have a variety of menus for catering, large and small, hot, cold sandwiches, different price points available for any available needs. We're going to put a lot of effort into keeping our online services easy to navigate, because we all know how frustrating ordering to order food online can be, and we want to avoid that, make things as simple and straightforward for people as possible. We want all of our customer interactions to be as pleasant as we can. In addition to these services, we're going to have a small retail offering of branded merchandise as well as products that we make, such as our signature sauces, pickles, hot sauces, things like that, just to let people take a taste of our brand home with them. We have a pretty good blend of hot and cold sandwiches on our menu with vegetarian options available. And as stated, they're all carefully curated to increase the guest experience, but they are also all completely customizable with the list of toppings and sauces that we have available. Our specials will rotate daily, as well as our side items will rotate on a daily to weekly basis depending on sales and how things are going at the time. We're maintaining a relatively low food cost, hopefully at around 30%, by creating all of our products in-house rather than purchasing high-end supplies from outside purveyors, as well as healthy menu pricing, keeping things at cost the way we want them, and monitoring our waste and sale viability as closely as we can to make sure that things we're selling are actually making us money. Our loss leaders, which is our hot sandwiches, the Philly and the brisket, they still operate at about a 35% food cost, and we're offsetting that by combo pricing and upcharges for sides, drinks, and things of that variety. Here's a few examples of food cost breakdowns with figures that I've actually pulled from our purveyors and preparation techniques that we've practiced already. These are available in your packet on page 10 as well. Our financial information starts on page 12 with our 12-month operations budget. This budget contains detailed operations of our sales breakdowns throughout the year for our different target markets, as well as our retail market and our overall expenses. It's a detailed operation costs, such as our propane, fuel, loans, insurance, taxes, and including a fund for upkeep, maintenance, and projects on the truck itself. We also notice our labor cost is a bit lower than industry average. That is due to our only employees being owner-operators, and they're operating at a slightly lower salary because as the only operators, they will be collecting tips and a tip pool to be split between the two of them, which at around 10% average will equal about $12,500 additional dollars per employee by the end of the year. For the first year, we're expecting to do about $264,899 in sales, with about 7% of that remaining in profit, about $18,500. And again, our food cost is a little low, but we believe it's achievable if we monitor it closely, which my partner has been an executive chef and food beverage director for upwards of 20 years now. So, and I have a culinary degree from Asheville Community College. So we're hoping that between the two of us, we keep a pretty good eye on our loss leaders and making sure we utilize product and keep our waste as low as possible. It's our 3-year sales forecast. We expect about a 5% increase in sales and sales and costs throughout the year, with our first year being $264,899, with our profits being about $18,500. Our second year of service increasing sales to about $278,650, with profits up about $19,600. And our third year upping our sales to $292,600, with profits of $20,600. Our startup costs. We're going to need about $80,000 to be available to start this business. Our owners plan to invest $15,000 cash up front apiece, with the remaining $50,000 coming in at a business loan at around 8% interest. This will be paid off in increments of $1,013 a month for 5 years, with the owners being paid off at $250 apiece for the same 5 years. So all of our originating debt will be paid off in 5 years or less. we need about $60,000 for our upfront equipment and truck costs. And we're going to have about $20,000 in the bank for originating cash flow and original product orders for stocking our services. On the following page, 14, we have a weekly sales forecast. This is broken down into our target markets and what we believe the sales will be per the week for each target market and our retail services. This sales forecast is based off the first week of July, one of our busiest months of the year, so that's a pretty good look into what we think is possible. Page following that, you'll find our labor forecast, which obviously is fairly straightforward, with just the two of us running this business. And again, with this model, our labor cost stays relatively low because our employees will be collecting tips as well as potential profit bonuses throughout the year from the business itself. On the labor forecast, you might notice that our work hours go from 8 to 6. We only plan to operate the business between 11 and 6. The hours between 8 and 11 are for preparation and preparing for catering events for the day and things of that nature. On the pages following that, we have a detailed SWOT analysis, but I'm just going to touch on the primary points here. We believe some of our strengths to be our high quality, the mobility of our business, potentially hopefully unique offerings that we have to separate us from the rest of the competition. Cost effectiveness of our business, we have a much lower overhead than brick and mortar stores. Our staff is obviously very committed to keeping this business running, as it's going to be our primary source of income, and growing it is going to be our future. And because of the mobile nature of our business, we're highly flexible. We can adjust to the market. We can change our menu on a daily basis if needed for the event that we're at, what our customers need. There are some weaknesses in this business, such as the limited space that's available in a food truck. The reliance on the location that we're at and the weather of the day can have a serious impact on outdoor mobile food service. And as well as our staff being a strength, it can be a weakness to rely on two operators. If one of us gets sick, one of us has to go out of town, it can cause some serious challenges for the business, but that's just something we're going to have to overcome in the first few years. As far as opportunities go, the food truck is a relatively scalable business, and if the product works as is, then it's franchisable, and we want to keep our business mobile. A lot of food trucks tend to go into brick and mortar stores, and it winds up costing them business or money, and we just want to stay mobile and do what we know best. It's easy to partner with local businesses and sporting events. We want to sponsor as much as possible and be a part of this community as much as we can. And food trucks are easily marketable. People love them in this area, so talking about them, having great social media presence, it's an excellent opportunity. Threats. There is a healthy amount of competition in the Asheville area, but we believe we have a bit of a niche market that we can fit into, and we're not overly worried about it. Obviously, economic downturn is a concern for everyone. Things are always changing these days, and we're just all hoping to keep above water. Asheville is fairly open to food trucks, but regulation changes are always a threat. It's happened in other cities where sudden changes in regulation can make it almost impossible to operate a mobile food business. That's just something we have to keep an eye on. Accidents, part of a mobile business is that it is a vehicle. So just driving to and from, we could easily get in an accident, and that costs us money every day that we're out of service. We all saw in 2020 the supply chain disruptions that came from a global disaster, and that very much affects food service businesses. It makes it very difficult to operate if you don't know when you're going to be able to get food to serve people. And in addition to that, we all saw the price increases that came from that. So if your percentages are low and your margins are slim, increases in prices and the cost of doing business can really affect your profitability as a company. As far as marketing goes, we have a pretty hefty marketing plan, and it seems like a lot for two operators to do. We have a bit of a secret weapon. My wife has a marketing and business degree, and she's willing to help us on that endeavor, keeping our social media afloat and helping take a little bit of that off our plate. So, social media will be our primary focus because we believe it's the easiest, cheapest way to reach the largest target market that we can. It has the highest reach and the lowest cost potential of any marketing segment. But we will also do some other things, such as local newspaper and advertising marketing. That's to help reach an older crowd, help our business catering. We want to do a lot of advertising in business publications for luncheons and things of that variety. Website banner ads, we want to do some, but it's very important that we target our demographics to people that are actually going to come to our business and not just putting our name out there where it doesn't need to be. Email marketing is going to be a big one for us because we plan to have a bit of a newsletter, information, things like that. So our regular customers can sign up and they get constant updates about our menu changes, our specials, where we're going to be, our events that we're hosting. We want to keep our group as much in the loop as possible to keep our guests interested in what we're doing. And again, event sponsorship is going to be another big one for us. We want to, again, be involved in the community, so we want to sponsor local events, go to church events, we want to sponsor local sports teams, and just be as involved as we can. As mentioned, social media is a cornerstone for us, so we will have several outlets for that. We're going to use Facebook for a lot of user interaction, sharing our customer reviews, creating events, sharing where we're going to be, and just generally building a community around our brand rather than just waiting for them to come to us. As well as Facebook ads are easy to target to demographics that you're interested in reaching. Instagram, similar to Facebook, a lot of the posts and images will be the same, but it's generally for more of a younger crowd. And we're going to include some behind the scenes information, looks into what we're doing, things like that. It's also great for community engagement. And ads work similar to Facebook, so we can choose the demographics that we want to reach and target that. Twitter, we will primarily use to update our locations and menu updates, as well as guest interaction, creating buzz around our brand. TikTok is an interesting one. We're gonna try to create daily content based on our sandwiches, behind the scenes, interactions with guests, interactions with other employees, our events, just show people what we're doing rather than just wait for them to see us. It's a great way to set up interest from the younger community and get our customers to see what we're about rather than just come see us for a sandwich. Public relations. We want to have a grand opening event. We want to make a party out of it. We want to have a ribbon cutting. We want to have live music. Food. We want to invite food influencers, bloggers, anyone in the area who can get a little buzz around our name. We're going to have samples, merchandise giveaways, just anything we can do to get some attention, grow some buzz, because the first few months of business can be very difficult to pick up sales. So we want to get our name out as quickly as we can and get people coming to see us. In addition to that, we want to do a couple times a year, we want to do a sandwich making competition where our guests actually submit their recipe ideas to one of our social media pages, and we allow other users to vote on the top sandwiches. And once we have a set list, we'll host a public event where we actually create the sandwiches and do taste tests. The winner of this event, their sandwich will be featured on our menu for a limited time, a month or so, and they'll receive a prize such as merchandise or gift cards for our business. And we want to do that a couple times a year to keep attention. The Sandwich of the Month Club is a voluntary thing, like our email sign up, but it's for our regular customers that are interested in keeping things interesting. So it's going to be once a month, we're going to send out an email to the VIPs that sign up for the service, and it's going to provide them a special sandwich that is only available to them at first. It's going to keep them interested. If they've tried everything on our menu, they're going to be willing to come back to try this new item. And then once our VIPs have had an opportunity to do that, it will be released as a special for the public as well, just to ensure we're not ordering product just for a few people to come grab a sandwich. And similarly to the sandwich making competition, we want to do a social media photo contest where people submit photos of themselves with our sandwiches doing things around Asheville, on hikes, on trails, just doing interesting things. And just like the other competition, that'll be voted on by other Facebook users, and the winner of the most interesting photo or submission will receive a prize as before, a merchandise gift card or a lesson with our chefs, just something of that variety. And that's my presentation. Thank you guys for listening. Be glad to answer any questions you might have. Any questions?
Jackson,
Sir?
you talked about doing sponsorships and supporting the community. Where is that in your operations?
So in our 12-month operations budget, near the bottom of our operating costs, there's something called the maintenance and cash fund, and that's just a percentage of our funds that we put into an account that's specifically for maintaining the truck, and any additional funding is what we're going to use for our marketing efforts outside of our marketing fund.
Thank you.
Question about additional items you want to sell. In addition to food, you want to focus on t-shirts and all of that. The inventory of that and startup cost, where is that on your plan?
It's built into food costs because I actually did the cost of t-shirts and hats and things like that, and at the price points they're at, they still sit around the 30% margin. And so with food costs being a part of our total sales revenue, it's built into that as well.
Jackson.
Sir?
I'm not the foodie expert by any means here, okay, but to have 40% of your revenues coming in on the catering side from day one, it seems to be a little high.
It is a little high from day one, but it's something we're hoping to build to. We want catering to be a primary focus of our business because it's what we're used to, it's what we've done before, it's what we're good at. So our goal is a little high for the first year, but we're hoping to get to that.
When you look at your pro forma, you might do the ramp up on that.
Yeah.
Because and the location you chose was because of the cost of the site, because your friend has that.
Yeah, that's our home base location is just because we have that friend he already has food trucks on location. He has a picnic area, he has setups, and the cost is low. So we're not going to be there full time, and he doesn't want us to be there full time, but it just provides us a relatively low cost home base, somewhat central to Asheville, so we have a place to be.
But the walk-up business there is not.
It's not great. There is a high volume of vehicle traffic, so with proper signage, and there's a red light right at that intersection. So with decent signage, we're hoping to get some pull-in business. But so we kept our window sales at a relatively low percentage, at least for the first while, until we get established in town and find some more places to get. Sorry.
So you, I'm semi-familiar with where you're at. There's a taco truck near there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
I drive by that taco truck on a regular basis, but have never been given an incentive or a reason for it. What's going to make you different? What's going to make you stand out to the car driving by?
Well, we're hoping that we're gonna have some good signage. We're gonna have our truck wrapped. We're gonna have it as flashy as we can. We're gonna have some signs out on the road, but we're primarily hoping that through our marketing efforts, we're gonna have our name in people's minds, so when they see us, they'll be willing to stop in and see what we're about.
One more,
Oh.
sorry. So you had mentioned that as a strength, you have flexibility. You have the ability to change your menu, adapt your menu, change things like that. So I'm a person who has ordered from you, and I want very specifically this sandwich, and then a week and a half before you find out that you don't have the ingredients to make that. What is your plan for reaching out to me as the client and telling me that you can't deliver what we discussed?
Well, as As far as our cross utilization goes, we're gonna maintain the same general proteins and the same base list of sandwiches. The only time we're gonna be changing our primary menu is if we've done a viability study and we've noticed that something's not selling as well or it's not performing as well, then we'll phase that item out. But outside of that, all of our sandwiches will remain available, and we also have customization options. So if it's just something that we've had on the menu before, like a turkey bacon club or something, we will generally still have the product on hand and be willing to make that for regular customers.
I'm curious, so you referenced like sporting events. A lot of them that I know of are afternoon, evening, and you've got labor built off ending at 6. Have you had discussions of what those parameters would look like?
Yeah, because it's owner-operators, we had to make a set schedule, but we've also accepted that there's gonna be times that we're working significantly more hours and just doing what we need to do for the business. We're not committed to that schedule in any way.
Gotcha. And then referencing, again, like sports, have you discussed like the youth teams, like the middle school and high school? So for example, it's 50 degrees last night, and we had Buncombe County track meet, 20 teams meeting at Inca High School, and there was a Kona ice shake truck, and that's it.
See, yeah, that's
Great
exactly the
opportunity.
market we want to reach. We want to reach out to those local high schools, and we want to sponsor those events and be there as much as possible because, like I said, it's an underserved market, and they definitely, I mean, these athletes definitely need to eat, and their families do too. So
Events
somebody's
in
got
at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Is there a, you're talking about online sales and using social media, et cetera. Have you chosen a point of sale that you feel is going to serve you well? Is there a spot on the financials for that?
It is built into our startup cost. I don't remember the exact percentage off the top of my head. It's built into our origination cost. We haven't decided on a point of sale yet because in the scope of this project, it wasn't really necessary for us to get into that level of detail. But it is in the next steps of our business plan is deciding which direction we want to go with that.
So that's in your capital outlay at the beginning.
Yes.
That's part of that budget.
We do have again, I can't remember the exact percentage, but there is a dollar amount built into our startup costs for point of sale setup.
Because people are going to be ordering online, and that's very essential. How about website development?
We have a few friends in the industry who are willing to help us at a discounted rate, but again, in the scope of this project, I haven't necessarily looked into the overall cost of developing that. We have our marketing budget to put into that, but we know it'll take a little more of our upfront cost away to get that set up to the point that we want it, because we want it as user-friendly and easy to operate as possible.
To piggyback on that, when are you gonna go live with your website and your social media efforts?
We want to start our social media efforts at least 90 days before our actual grand opening, if not more. That way we can have people have the buzz developed and try to set up our grand opening event. 90 days is kind of the baseline. We'd like to do a little more, but just realistically, we think that'll be when we go live on getting people updated on our opening.
And those costs are built in.
I want to say one of the things you mentioned about responding to reviews immediately, that's fantastic, definitely positive. My question with the public relations activity, the social media photo contest, what's your plan if for some reason there's some negative feedback with that? So, you have this contest for using your sandwich and going out and about. What is your plan, and is that worth it to you for somebody to have your business associated with a super negative connotation unintentionally, and how would you deal with that fallout?
Some problems and some negativity we're willing to accept. I think the overall getting our name out there and getting people to come in and see us and do these style of competitions, I think it'll be worth, even if there's a bit of negativity that comes along with it. As long as we respond properly, I don't think it'll affect our business.
Nice. Perfect, thank you.
Have you reached out to Guy Fieri yet?
Not yet. When we get a little closer to the grand opening, we might try to get a hold of him. Any other questions?
As a cook, I'm thinking about sides.
We're going to keep it fairly minimal. We're going to make our chips in-house. We're going to do shoestring fries, and we're going to have one or two rotating deli specials like potato salad, macaroni salad, or something like that. It's not gonna stay consistent depending on what's in season or what's available. So we're only gonna have those three choices: chips, fries, or the special of the day or special of the week.
Have you decided what you're gonna be famous for on your menu?
We don't want to attach ourselves too heavily to a single item. We want to be known for our general high quality of what we're doing. But the brisket sub and the Italian are going to be the staples of our menu that will probably stay consistent no matter what happens.
Are you going to be preparing your catering food from inside the truck, or are you going to be doing that at your commissary?
For small events up to 40 to 50 people, we're willing to do it inside the truck. If we get anything over that, then we'll be renting additional commissary space to prepare that there.
Okay.
Do you have potential staffing for large catering events, like if you're doing something with 100 people?
There's going to be some limitations on what we're able to accept in the first year, but if we do get an event like that, we have access to temp services that can help us with serving and things along that nature, as well as we have a pretty extensive list of connections from others in the industry if we have to call in a little reinforcements for a day or two. Sir?
So you talked about the catering and hours a little bit. So you're saying that the beginning part of the day is prepping out and delivering those catering orders so that you can come back and run the Brady walk-up stuff during the day.
So yeah, the first few hours, if there are catering events for that day, we want to do our preparation for the truck that morning, as well as preparing anything we can for the catering events. And if it needs to be delivered, that'll probably be done through an outside service, or again, our wives are both interested in working for the business, but as free labor, as it were. So we don't want to utilize the truck for deliveries unless it's for a large catering operation.
It's never free labor.
No, of course not. But non-monetary wages.